Hi, I'm Cameron Humphreys from Humphreys Outdoor Power, and today we are going to be talking about utility tractors, specifically the MX series from Kubota. Let's dive in. So like I said, I'm out here with the MX series from Kubota. It's a beautiful looking tractor. This is what we would consider a utility tractor. The primary places where I would like to put a tractor like this are whenever we're doing quite a bit of property management, several acres worth of stuff, where we need a lot of lift capacity. Obviously, you can see this particular one is decked out with a backhoe on the back. That's not necessarily a common attachment, but it is one that's available out there. It's the BH92 backhoe. Awesome rig if you're using it often. That is the big caveat I particularly have with backhoes. It's not necessarily the best option unless you've got a lot to do with one. But back to the tractor. The MX series offers the 5400 and the MX 6000, so that's 54 horse or 60 horse. The 54 horse comes in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, and then it also comes in gear drive or hydrostat. The MX 6000, which is the 60 horse, comes in hydrostat only. You can get cabs in either. This one obviously is just a ROPS tractor. Again, this is probably the most popular one we sell just because of the price point it's at. But this guy is an amazing tractor. With the LA 1065 loader that we have on it, we've got around 2,100 pounds of functional lift capacity. So I really like to put this in places where people tell me they're handling a lot of round bales. Now, I'm not sure this tractor is quite big enough to handle like actually baling round bales, but it is certainly big enough to handle a round bale on the front. Obviously, even smaller tractors than this can handle round bales on the back, on the 3-point. But this is a very, very good tractor for kind of those hobby cattle farmers, horse farm enthusiasts who aren't necessarily baling their own hay, but do need to handle round bales or even square bales. This thing can handle square bales all day long without breaking a sweat. So let's go ahead and dive into the engine a minute and see what we got there. I know I already kind of spoke to the loader a little bit, but it is a good opportunity as we work our way to the front of this tractor to stop and appreciate this bucket. It is heavy duty, 72-inch bucket. It's got the holes for a replaceable cutting edge if you should choose. But it's also got that skid steer quick attach, which we see on most Kubota tractors at this point. However, it's still very good to stop and pause and just appreciate the fact that Kubota uses universal skid steer, which means we can use whatever attachment we can find that takes universal skid steer, and it's the most prominent one out there. They're not like our green compatriots who have proprietary system. So this makes it really easy to go to pallet forks. You can put a third function valve on this guy, put a grapple on there. You can do snow blade. There's really no end to what you can do. Obviously, I already mentioned a bale spear, but that's one of the things that makes this such a powerful unit. And again, it is kind of the first in the lineup for Kubota where you get to that 2,000 pound plus, again, somewhere around 2,100 pound lift capacity. So this is probably the one that I always suggest anytime someone mentions round bales, because while they can vary in weight anywhere from 800, 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, I personally always try to suggest get something that we know can handle a big, wet round bale. So let's go ahead and make sure we can pick up 1 ton just to be safe. Now you will, if you're maximizing that, you're gonna wanna put fluid in the rear tires or some sort of ballast weight back there. We always recommend beet juice, rim guard, which is a byproduct of beet juice, but you'll definitely want some weight to counterbalance this if you're gonna be maximizing that out at around the 2,100 pound lift capacity. So we're gonna pop the top on this guy. Down here, as you're looking at it, there's a release, and that gets us into the engine. So as always, Kubota's great about getting us all the stuff that we need to do to maintenance this tractor very easy. So easy access to the battery, radiator, air cleaner, things like that. Your radiator screen's right here on the side, so we can just pull that out very easily. This is a 148 cubic inch 4-cylinder Kubota diesel with a turbo. So again, this is the 54 horse that we're looking at today. They also have a 60 horse as well. If we're looking back here, you will see that DPF filter. Because this is underneath the horsepower requirement to have def, we don't have to have def, but it does fall within the requirement to have a DPF filter. The difference being that we still have to have a burn down cycle on this machine, but we can use the diesel fuel that it's already got to do so. So that makes it a lot cleaner burning cycle. Most of the issues that we ever have with a DPF filter typically come from the def side of things. So we sell obviously a lot of tractors above 26.5 is the horsepower cutoff. So we sell a lot of tractors above that horsepower. And we really don't have any issues with this DPF system, so that's not something to be worried about. I do love the fact that it's got a turbo. I do love the 4-cylinder. It's got a very, very nice hum to it whenever we start up the engine. I love that 4-cylinder chugging away. It sounds awesome. All right, so I'm in the captain's chair now. We're gonna take a look at some of these controls. You have to forgive me, it is really hot right now. I'm trying to do this in the morning in Indiana. It's early July, high temperatures. I'm trying to get it done before the temperatures get super high. That's why I'm all kinds of sweaty. And while I'm not really mincing words here, I'm just diving right in. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the controls. So as we look at our dash, this is what we're seeing from the control seat. Obviously our loader lever, we've got our quick detach there if we want to detach our hydraulic lines. Quick couplers on all of those. Again, this is the hydrostatic, so there's our hydrostatic pedal. This thing does make for a really nice hydrostatic drive. This is the machine that Brian, my dad here, owns. So he has a MX 5800, which was the generation before the MX 6000. So I'm very familiar with this MX series. I borrow it all the time for a lot of the work I do, which is mostly bush hogging, things like that. I do like the electronic PTO. All you gotta do to turn this on, push it in and flip it, and then you're on. You can just tap it and it'll come off. Down here we have our levers. So this will be our rear 3-point. Obviously right now it's got a backhoe on it, so we're not moving anything. These two levers back here would be any kind of rear remotes that we had. On this side we have a cruise control. So as I press this down, that hydrostat pedal goes down, and then I can just leave it forward and the pedal will stay forward. So if you're going forward for a long period of time, makes that very convenient, almost like a gear drive tractor. We've got our high, medium, and low. Down here we have our lights. So on, off, those are headlights. Then we've got turn signals and hazards. Parking brake setup is pretty basic for every tractor. So we would press this pedal down, pull this lever up, and then let off with our foot. Now the parking brake is set. To release that, we just tap that brake and that will pull that off. Standard throttle on this side. So as we push that forward, we're giving it more juice. On this side, we have our DPF buttons. So this is to cancel DPF. This would be if we're doing an automatic regen. The instructions for all the regen are right here on the fender, which is very convenient. You can also call in if you have any questions. I'm not gonna dive into how to regen exactly today, but we will make a video on that shortly. This guy is to allow the PTO to run while you are in park. So I did want to come out here to the lot real quick to show what the 3-point looks like on this machine. So as we can see, we do have these telescoping 3-point ends right here. So these guys can telescope out and in, which helps us hook up to equipment whenever you can at least get close, right? And then you can telescope out. It gives you a few inches of play there, and then you can just go in reverse, lock those back into place, and then you're good to go. So those really help for loading up equipment. One of the other things to note on this tractor is it does not come with any rear remotes standard. You can add up to 3 if you choose to. And then one of the other big questions that I get all the time is, do you need rear remotes to run a backhoe? And the answer to that is no. It'll actually plug into the Power Beyond, so you don't need any extra hydraulics or anything for that. Whenever you buy a backhoe, you get the kit that allows you to plug it into the tractor. So just want to clarify that and show you this 3-point. Anyway, back to the barn. Just because we've got it on there, I thought we'd take a quick look at the BH92 backhoe. You've got your standard outriggers there. They would come down with these two pins here in the middle, and then this is going to control your curl, and this is going to be your swing and your boom. BH92 is an awesome backhoe. We've got a 24-inch bucket on it. You can obviously change that to whatever you want. This is a pin-on, but you can get quick attach buckets to make it easy to change those on and off. This particular guy, like most of the backhoes we bring in, has a mechanical thumb. You can add a third function if you want a hydraulic thumb, which would be a pedal that would fit right here, and then that would allow you to hydraulically close that. Personally, around here, it seems like our customers prefer the cost effectiveness of the mechanical thumb. It allows you to still grab things. All you do for that, you have different settings, and then you can set that, and then obviously as you curl the bucket to those various settings, you've got various points of impact where you can pick up logs or rocks or anything else that you want. But 109 inches with a 2-inch flat bottom is the digging depth on this guy. It's a really nice backhoe. So this has been our short, sweet video on the MX series by Kubota. One of my favorite series, like I said, this is the one my dad owns. It's an awesome tractor. He owns an MX 5800, which was the last iteration of this that now has gone to the MX 6000. He has it in a hydrostat. I love it for all the bush hogging that I have to do around my property. I manage probably around 6 acres or so, a lot of which is in prairie grass, so I'm bush hogging, I'm tilling, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I use the front end loader quite a bit if I need to move sand or gravel or put a grader box on the back or a grader scraper for my driveway. I use it for all of those things. I like having the extra horsepower and physical size that the MX series chassis brings to the table over something like the L. I do think that the L series is probably a better catch-all for most folks, but if you do have a little bit bigger property that you're trying to manage, it is nice to have the extra horsepower, the extra size, and especially the extra lift capacity, again, going with that 2,100 pound lift capacity with the MX series. So this has been the MX series. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions or if you have any ideas for any future videos that you would like to see. Thank you for watching and have a great day.